fact. We actually had one of the 9/11 commissioners just leave. Max Cleland's like, hey, it's in my movie Fabled Enemies. He blatantly says the entire commission is a scam, that they're not allowed to see all the documents, that they've already made up their mind. It came out that Zelikow basically wrote the whole commission report before the first day of hearings. I mean, it's unbelievable to me. We had another one of the commissioners come out and write a book, I believe it was Philip Shannon, admitting yet again that NORAD did nothing but lie on the stand. Of course, who was it? It was Thomas Keane and Lee Hamilton who wrote the book Without Precedent, where they said the same thing. They said what NORAD told us was just so far from the truth, we actually considered indictments. Really? No kidding. Think it might be a little bit more important to, have those indictments and find out what really went on. And I'm not clinging on to anything. I wish that this wasn't real. Do you really think that I take any kind of solace in the fact that people within my own government were involved in the murder of 3,000 plus U.S. citizens? That's a great segue into this article, and then we'll go to Mark, Mike, and more. And we got somebody actually, you know what, we'll go to one more caller because we got Solomon in Brazil, and it's probably costing a pretty penny. So let's go to Solomon. We'll get into this FEMA story. Solomon, you're on the line.
Thank you very much, Brother Bermas. Thank you very much for taking my call.
You got it.
With such a short notice. I'm very thankful because probably people over there still don't know that the calls that are coming from overseas, unless they are coming from some military base or someone who has a very free access, are paid by the caller, and the call is pretty expensive. And we really want to express our commitment to your effort, and how much do we appreciate the words and the work that you are doing, and that's the only way to really contribute to your cause.
Well, thank you.
Giving you our words and probably some of your reflections. Long time that I really want to talk to you and to your distinguished audience, and I have three things that I want to make, and I want to make it very fast. First of all, when you were talking, you remember about the ATM driver that was attacked, assaulted by the police officer. I want to make this comment. I remember there was Malcolm X who said, the chicken come home to roost. And that is what really happened with those police officers. We have seen those kind of things happening in Iraq before, in Fallujah, Mosul, etc. We learned that the Israelis were doing the same thing in Gaza and Jenin, killing people, attacking ambulances, but we didn't care. We didn't care at all. And then now it's happening to us. Everything that is happening in daily life in the United States of America, in my beloved country, have been tested before in third world countries. And it worked perfectly. Now they apply it over there, but we didn't care a bit in the past what happened in other countries. I'll have one example of what is going to happen in FEMA in the future. If you can pick up and get back the video from YouTube, probably, from this minor who was murdered at the boot camp in Florida in January 5, 2006. The name it was, I think it was Martin Lee Anderson. He was killed by boot camp guards in daylight, in broad view of everyone, and they got away with that. They got away with murder.
Well, you know what? I mean, these guys get away with even more than murder, especially when it's overseas. I mean, sometimes it happens here, but like you said, it's out of control when the police are pulling over ambulances, attacking EMT workers, tasing, 72-year-old women. But let's just look at what we've done overseas. Just like you said, a lot of these things are tested in war zones in third world countries first, and then they come into first world nations, and they make them second world nations, and then eventually really third world nations. I got to jump just because I got to go over this FEMA thing, but I agree with you 110%. You look at what's happened in Iraq. Openly, there are photographs and videos of people in Abu Ghraib raping children in front of their parents to try to get information from them. Cy Hirsch, 2004, never been debated. People came off the House and Senate floors who saw what went down on the videos and frankly said they hope this never comes out because it is just so appalling and disgusting, and a black eye for America. They don't think the public can handle it. Well, the public, quite frankly, can't handle it because they're too busy sucking their thumbs and getting the new iPhone 3GS. Unfortunately, they are not paying attention to the fact that a whistleblower who was at ground zero on the day of 9/11 got a call after the first plane strike. Let me repeat that. Got a call after the first plane strike when they said it was still an accident. And they told him to get down to New York City right away. He said right away alarm bells should have went off, and I thought it was curious at the time, but as soon as the event really started to take shape, you just forget everything. But he got a call after the first one to come document everything. Now he gets down there, what does he see? Oh, he sees all sorts of physical anomalies. He records all sorts of physical anomalies. He realizes that a lot of the documentation and secret underground facilities had been emptied out prior to the attacks. What do you know? How about that? He mentions 7 in here. He talks about the architects and engineers. He has videotape that he's trying to get out. Oh, by the way, he's been in exile in Argentina since 2003, and he was an official FEMA employee. And he was discussing, I mean, we're going to read you some of the article on the other side. But he admits, you know, he had discussions with other people that worked with FEMA that realized, you know, right away there were a lot of anomalies, and a lot of these things were very disturbing, and they didn't add up. And we got to get this guy on. His name is Kurt Sonnenfeld. Apparently his wife committed suicide while he was down in Argentina. And even though the prosecutors knew he was 100% not guilty, he had been exonerated of the crimes, the United States still tried to extradite him. And his neighbors later said he wasn't planning on staying in Argentina. He thought it was just going to be for a trip. And what happens? All of a sudden, his house is being surveilled. It's being broken into. He stayed at a friend's house. Their house was broken into. Just a nightmarish story. He's got 29 tapes. He spent 1 month there, from day 1 to day 31. This is a huge story. We need this videotape. I'll go through all 29 tapes, all 29 hours. It needs to be done. We'll be back after this, taking your calls and blitzing through the news. It's the Infowarrior with Jason Bermas, prisonplanet.tv, Infowars.com.